Someone tricked you here into believing that you know, that they are your twin flame, that they are your soulmate. But then you find out that this person is not who they say they were, or who's not who they showed you. Meaning they lied. They gave you exactly who you wanted them to be in order to get what they want from you. So you might think that this person, you might have thought that this person was your soulmate, they were your other half, counterpart, whatever you want to call it. But in actuality, they were faking it. They were playing you. They were manipulating you into thinking that in order to have some type of control over you, in order to have some type of privilege over you. And now I see that, now that you have found them out, now that you have recognized that this person is not who they are, they lied about a lot of things. They lied about things that were important for you, or were important to make your decision upon, or yeah, we have the devil. They knew exactly what you wanted and they gave that to you. See, maybe you are the type that reveals what your type is, if you know what I mean. Meaning there will be people that will come into your life as strangers and say, so what type of person are you looking for? And you are in your dummy self, in your naive, innocent self. You're like, I want this in a person, and this and this and this in a person, and this. I've done that myself, you know, until I realized, why am I giving people a manual book to how to manipulate me? Because if I tell them how I like a person to be, then they will just basically be that person for me. And I will be like a dummy, like, oh, what a coincidence. You have everything that I want in a person. How lucky. And so maybe they collected enough data about what you like in a person in order to give you the impression that they are your soulmate or they are your twin flame. Now here's the thing, I feel like you find out that this person is not who they say they are because you have gone through many signs and many like your intuition was fucking screaming at you and you are like, okay, this is it, I see it, we are not meant to be together. You break up, but you still seem to be stuck on this person, because that is the first energy that I received, that you are not over them. Maybe this is recent, but sometimes, you know, it can feel recent even when it's not recent. So the energy interesting. The energy here feels recent. Whether this is actually recent, a recent breakup, or it happened like a year ago, but it still feels fresh because it had such a huge impact on you. But I see you're still stuck on them. I see that you don't trust people like you used to, which is a good and a bad thing, right? I see that you still kind of like harbor, if I don't know if that's the word or the correct word to use, you still have those kind of like, oh, how did I fall for that bullshit? How can a person be like this? How can you try to manipulate a person in such a way and use the things that you said to them against you? That's what people do. That's what manipulators do. That's what desperate people do as well. Just because you were fooled doesn't make you a dumb person. Just know this. It just makes you like a trusting, yes, naive, but naivete is not really a bad thing. It's a bad thing when it's with bad people. Okay, innocence is a beautiful thing. And it also reveals that you are seeing people from your own way you see yourself, meaning that you wouldn't do that to another person and you thought another person wouldn't do that to you. So it's almost like the way you see the world is very innocent or very trusting because you are trustworthy. But that doesn't mean that every person that walks into your life will be trustworthy, okay? Just because someone says something doesn't mean that they are truthful. Just because they act in a certain way doesn't mean that is their character. The most important thing when trusting people is time. Because a lot of people find it hard to fake for a long time. So when you are trying to see if someone is trustworthy, observe instead of conclude. Observe instead of conclude. Don't jump to judgment. Just because you like the person doesn't make it okay to trust them right away. Hallelujah. The sun is shining. Yes. So if you are the type of person that is like, yeah, but they did everything that I like, they did blah, blah, blah. It's because they were listening to what you had to say about what you liked. Just because someone does what you like doesn't mean they are a good person. They could have an agenda. And this is what you have here. This person played you like they play chess. They are the type of person that, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my pawn for the queen. And that is the energy we have here. I'm going to fake it until you believe it. And then I'm going to have you under, I'm going to have you under my armpit. I don't know if that's a saying, but it will be today. When you put like something under your arm, you've got it secured. Maybe like when you hold your purses or whatever, or let's just say wrapped around your, they had you wrapped around their finger. Let's just say that, okay, it's easier to understand than under your armpit. So this person made you believe that they are your soulmate when in fact they were just trying to get you to believe that. They had an agenda here. And maybe it took from you some time and effort and possibly love to see it through, to see that this person was playing mind games with you and they had an agenda. Now, I don't know what their agenda is. I don't see it just yet. But this is so far confirming that this piece of shit is actually a liar, a manipulator, someone that wanted total control over you. And the only way for them to get that control is by manipulating you in thinking that they are the person, the one for you. There are lots of people like this. It's not even unique anymore. So you have to be able to protect yourself. It doesn't matter how good you are. Because if you see the world through your eyes, you will end up getting hurt. Because if you are a good person, you will think every person you encounter is a good person. And that is not the reality of things, is it? You have to be more observant. And maybe you are going through that because I see that you could be going through death and rebirth. Meaning that you could be thinking, I shouldn't be like this anymore. I shouldn't be this good person, this good-willed, this naive person that trusts everybody and believe in their good side and believe in their goodness instead of their badness. Now, don't get me wrong, having the ability to see the good in people is such a beautiful thing to have. We need that. Do not dispose of that. But you should also consider the bad side. So don't get rid of the good side of people because, yes, every person does have a good side, but they don't always act on it. Meaning they do not honor their good side. So if you want to be, instead of being like this optimistic, naive person, be a realist. I'm going to treat you based on how you treat me, knowing that at any point you could turn against me. If you have that mentality, you will take it less personally when it happens. Because guess what? People at some point, even the good ones, can have bad days, bad moments, bad, phases in life, and they could take it out on you. And it's your responsibility if you want to tolerate it or not. But if you have that mentality that people are not only good or people are not only bad, they are both. When you understand that people are both, you will kind of be easier to accept the fact that that good person can turn on me and that bad person can do something good. You know, you won't be so judgmental. You will be situational, meaning that you will act according to the situation at hand, not act on what you think that person is. So, extremes, avoid the extremes. If you think everyone is good, that is not a good thing. And if you think everyone is bad, that is also not a good thing. Knowing that people have both is the lesson here. And I feel like after this experience of yours, you will be more understanding of that. Maybe you will have some time where you will struggle in seeing the good in people because you will see the bad because, you know, this person has done you bad. And so you will start to see the bad in people instead of the good. But the goal here is for you to heal to the point where you understand that people can be both. A good person can be a bad person and a bad person can be a good person. Every person has both. Now, which side they decide to act on is situational. Okay, so if you are dealing with someone that has bad intentions towards you and you don't really just see them for the good in them, then you will be more careful, more cautious, more articulate in communicating and expressing how you want to deal with them. You know, by, for example, if someone has bad intentions towards you and you have this openness to recognize that people can be both good and bad, then you are more likely to understand that this is human nature, that there is duality, that there is polarity, and depending on the situation given, they will act in certain ways. So if you have that mentality, I feel like even when they do you something bad, you're like, well, it's in human nature, you know, it's quite interesting. And I'm actually offended that you decided to do it to me, but I already saw it coming. It's not really surprising. The shock element will not be there. Because when you think someone is good, like totally good, couldn't hurt a fly, and then you see them hurting you in such a bad way that you're like, what the fuck just happened? I thought you were an angel. That the shock element can be traumatizing. But if you are in a neutral type of position where you see the good and the bad in people, you are less likely to get hurt. You will be more understanding of the human nature. You won't judge too much because you do also have it. If you want to understand others, understand yourself so deeply, and so it's like you have to kind of like go to the depth of you first to understand that it also exists in others. And if you think you are a good person, well, yes, of course, that's a good thing because you're acting on your goodness, but you also have the bad side. It's just no one pushed you to that point where your bad side dominates. And the most important mission in life is to have a good balance of both. You're not expected to be always a good person, and you're not expected to be always a bad person. It is important to have both in balance. If you fuck with me, I can protect myself with my bad side. But if you are gentle and sweet and honest with me and whatever else, I have a good side as well to treat you with that. Do remember as well, when people can sense that you are not to be fucked with, they are less likely to fuck with you. But if you are this naive, it's always farts and rainbows, you know, you will be used and abused because, you know, people like to ruin innocence. And I'm assuming you're not a child anymore, so you have to kind of put that balance on the innocence side of things, because the reality of things is not innocent. You know, this world can be a vicious world, and you have to know how to operate from your light even when you have and acknowledge and know there is dark. And I feel like that is the lesson here for you to recognize, or the lesson here for you to learn. And yes, it came through a person that you thought was a soulmate, but hey, the lesson is greater than the deceit. Keep that in mind. This is a valuable lesson. When bad things happen to you, there is also goodness in that. And in this case, the lesson of balance. It's something to ponder on. Just remember that the wheel has up and down, and that is how life circulates. It's up and down. So if you want to live a fulfilling life, you also have to accept the terms of life, the nature of life, the nature of polarity, or the nature of the existing or the existence of polarity. Because if you live in the 3D, it's very normal to have polarity, but if you operate from higher dimensions, it will be easier for you to operate from your highest self, but also understand when people operate in lower dimensions. And that is something that you accumulate, or something that you understand the more you don't take it personally. If you take things personally, then you cloud your judgment, cloud the lesson that comes through bad situations. Understand. Best of luck. I will see you soon.